Welcome. Here we are at the Carroll Arts Center again. It's September the 13th, but there's nothing scary going on here. We're here for Ignite Carroll 2. It's our second installment of the Ignite series. We're very excited about the speakers that are coming up. We've got more than last time and a whole fantastic assortment of them. We're really excited that we're here again at the Carroll Arts Center in Westminster. Looking forward to the show. Good evening, everyone. How's everyone doing tonight? There we go. Ignite 2, here we are, huh? It's pretty exciting that we're doing this again right here in the heart of Carroll County. So please feel free to tell everyone, all of your friends following you, how much they're missing out on such a great night here. Tweet us, use the hashtag IgniteCarroll2. And that way, people can kind of follow along and kind of keep the conversation going online. And hopefully, we'll keep building some steam and momentum to get people to keep coming out to this. And we're going to try and keep moving forward with it as much as possible. So, welcome. Thank you all for attending. And I guess first thing we're going to do is just kind of mention that we've got some event sponsors that are going to come up in just a couple minutes to just kind of say a quick little hello to everyone. But we do want to recognize Carroll County Economic Development. We wouldn't be able to do this without their support through the Carroll Tech Council and through the Education Committee and presenting Ignite here for you tonight. Carroll Magazine is also fantastic with advertising and helping us with awareness of the event. And we have a new one, Hometown Startups, this evening. And so we'll get a couple of those to representatives to come up and say something in just a bit. The organizers, again, it's the Carroll Tech Council, and it's the Education Committee, of which I am the chair. If you haven't figured it out by now, my name is Vince Buscemi. You can also tweet at me and tell me how good I'm doing, how bad I'm doing, how loud I am, anything at all, that I'm not funny. It's okay, I can take it, all right? You feel free to do whatever you want. Tweet at Ignite Carroll, and like I said, we've got the hashtag there to kind of keep the conversation going on throughout the evening. So, what is this all about, Ignite? Next slide. So we've got the format, if you aren't familiar with Ignite, is each presenter has 20 slides. Each of those slides auto-advance for 15 seconds for a total of 5 minutes. So the idea behind Ignite is to enlighten us, but make it quick. Okay, so for our speakers, yes, these slides do auto-advance and they do not stop. Okay, so if you get caught up, and it may happen, it may even happen to me tonight, we just don't know, just take a deep breath and try and jump back in, all right? We're all in this to have a good time and to kind of educate people on things that we know a lot about, so let's just keep the momentum going and jump back in when you can. For the audience, please turn the cell phones on to silence for us, okay? Keep them on. Like I said, we want everyone sharing and taking pictures and uploading them to Facebook, to Twitter, and even on Facebook, you can use the hashtag as well. They've added that if you weren't aware. So we can keep the conversation going online and be supportive. All right, just make sure you're clapping and cheering as loud as you can for every presenter, and definitely sit back, relax, and enjoy Ignite Carroll 2. So, without further ado, I think we're going to invite some of our sponsors to come up. So let me make sure I'm on track. Yes, so far so good. All right, from the Carroll County Economic Development, we have John Wheatman. John, will you come up and say a few words for us, please? John's coming up.
Thank you, Vince. In the spirit of Ignite and keeping in with philosophy of enlighten us and make it quick, I'm going to leave the enlightenment up to the presenters, but I will make it quick. It is our great pleasure to sponsor events like this and to work with the Carroll Technology Council. I just can't stress how important it is that we have an organization within our community that organizes a tech community and sponsors a tech community and really helps highlight and spotlight that we do in fact have technology companies in Carroll. Sometimes you're out and about and you talk about tech in Carroll and people look at you like that's the first tech company that ever opened in Carroll. But as we know in this room and as we know in the county, that's certainly not the case. So just to reiterate, it is my pleasure with the Department of Economic Development to sponsor this event and to continue to work with the Carroll Tech Council to highlight technology and what we do here in the county. Thank you.
Thank you, John, and thank you, Carroll County Economic Development. From Carroll Magazine, I know Josh Cohn is here. He just wanted me to say thank you. So if you aren't aware of Carroll Magazine, make sure to pick one up. There's a lot of great information in there for businesses in the area. And get in touch with Josh Cohn and his company, Cohn Creative. And they can get you in touch with the people there to maybe contribute to that magazine and keep it going. So a round of applause for Josh and Carroll Magazine. And finally, we have Jason Stamball from Hometown Startups. So please welcome Jason, and thank you for your support. All right.
Hey everybody, I'm Jason Stamball, founder and CEO of Hometown Startups. I'm going to be speaking in just a few moments, so I'll keep it very brief. But Hometown Startups, for those of you who don't know, we power local startup business competitions, one of which is the Carroll Biz Challenge, which is right here in Carroll County, where entrepreneurs can pitch their new and early stage startup businesses to compete for a $5,000 cash prize. It's kind of like American Idol meets Shark Tank, only it's local. Thank you, that was great, thank you, thank you. And I will say, look up there at all these folks. The Carroll Tech Council, Carroll Magazine, and Economic Development are also sponsors of the Carroll Biz Challenge. And that because just like this event, the Carroll Biz Challenge is all about inspiring, and I hope all of you here tonight walk away with something inspiring to change your life at home and at work. So enjoy the rest of the show, guys.
Thank you, Jason. Thank you, Jason. Hi, everyone. I'm Tracy Turner. I'm the administrator for the Carroll Technology Council, and you will hear more from me later. But we're going to start the program tonight, and our first speaker is Vince Buscemi, and I'm going to introduce him now. I haven't done this before, so wish me luck. Oh, Vince, you are a big deal. Okay. Vince has been brewing beer since 2008, starting with a 2-gallon Mr. Beer kit. Today he brews on a custom all-grain system, brewing hatches between 5 and 12 gallons of beer at a time. That'll last him for the weekend, I think. He is a member of a local homebrew club, has co-brewed beers receiving both local and national recognition, and enjoys brewing with friends all year round. Vince is presenting Adventures in Home Brewing. Please welcome Vince.
Thank you. Okay, so why homebrew? Well, first off, you get to drink the finished product. I mean, how cool is that, right? You can make your own clones of craft beers that you love and actually save a lot of money at the same time in doing so. So let's kind of get into what it is about making beer, okay? So the Reinheitsgebot of 1516 is the German purity law. German said, 4 ingredients are the basis of beer: water, grain, hops, and yeast. Any combinations of those are going to give you multiple different styles. So breaking it down, water, all of these different ions affect how your beer will taste. So understanding water composition before you brew is essential in creating consistent beers that taste good. Second are the grains. We have 2 kinds: base malts, which are the foundation for the mash, and specialty malts, which provide distinct flavor, color to the styles that you're trying to brew, and they're named there. We have hops. Lots of different hop varieties all over the world. Hops, 2 parts of hops are the alpha and the beta acids. They give bittering and flavor and aroma, are used throughout the boil at the same time. Yeast, we have 2 kinds: top fermenting or ale yeast, bottom fermenting or lager yeast. Fermentation is where the yeast converts sugars into CO2 and alcohol, and they also actually produce certain flavors for styles. So, how to get started? Well, I started with a Mr. Beer kit. That right there is the Mr. Beer kit. It makes 2 gallons of beer. That wasn't enough, so I wanted 5 gallons. So I went on to the extract kit and making 5 gallons at a time, but that wasn't enough. So then I got into all grain brewing, where now I'm in control of all the grains, the entire brewing process, and as Tracy said, I'm up to 5 to 15 gallons of beer at a single time. That's fantastic. I love it, right? So when you do get to that level, you've basically converted your garage into a brewery, all right? So you've got, just like any brewery, you've got the hot liquor tank, the mash tun, you've got the boil kettle. You even have your own draft system sitting in the garage. So anytime you want your own home brew, you can grab it right there. This is my buddy's system. I'm just gonna call him the Don of brewing, okay? This is fully automated. We've got laptops controlling pumps that are controlling all of the heat temperatures, firing the boil kettle to achieve maximum optimization for the beer produced at a single time. So how do we make the beer? Okay, it starts with the wort, which is the sugary soup, if you will, from the grains in which we add hops to during certain additions based on the recipe. That is what the yeast need, and they need a perfect environment of it. So once you achieve the wort, you need to chill it down and add in the yeast. What you want the yeast to do is you want them to have a wild orgy, crazy banquet feast party, eat up all the sugars, fart out CO2, piss alcohol, make more babies, and repeat the whole process all over again. It's wonderful. Yeast are our friend. After that, we need to check the gravity of the beer to make sure that it's at the alcohol level that we want. You can also transfer to a secondary fermentation, add dry hops, add fruits and flavors. You can even barrel age it. Bottling your beer. This is a pain in the butt. 5 gallons is 60 bottles that you have to clean and sanitize every single time you want to fill the beer. Then you got to wait 2 to 8 weeks for it to actually ferment again to get carbonation. Forget that. Homebrewers go to kegging their own beer now. We use corny kegs from Coca-Cola and Pepsi products. We're getting 5 gallons in 1 corny keg. We can carb it in 3 to 5 days, but wait, there's more. We can force carb it using a carving stone in under 15 minutes. Now I'm drinking my beer in under 15 minutes. So now you're tasting it. Oh, this tastes great. This is wonderful. You start looking for issues. You give it to a friend. Hey, what does this taste like? What do you think? I kind of like my Coors and my, okay, never mind. I got to find a homebrew club. We're not going to do anything here. So here's the great thing. Right here in Carroll County is the Midnight Homebrewers League. They've got 80 members, monthly meetings and events, constant tastings and ways in which everyone's challenging each other to make better beer. We have collaborations with Pub Dog, and we have a lot of fun. Once you make better beer, now you want a real judge to start to give you critique. So now the beer judging certification program is going to give you critiques based out of 50 points, which is perfect, on all of these different things based on the style of beer that you've created. Then you can join the American Homebrewers Association. I was at the National Homebrewers Conference. These are my pictures here. There were 3,000 homebrewers that brought 2,000 corny kegs for 10,000 gallons of beer, or about 3.5 gallons per person. It's a lot of beer, okay? Sometimes you run out of beer. Sometimes you're a little drunk and a little crazy. And I don't even remember this picture being taken, but in the end, here's the thing. You can make more beer. So relax, don't worry, and have a homebrew. Thank you. Thanks, Vince. You did a great job. Way to kick things off, buddy. That guy's so good. He's got to break out of his shell, though, huh? Okay. All right, so that's how it's done. It goes by really, really fast. I don't even remember what I just said. Next up, we have Mike Chalet. Mike's been a Westminster resident since 2005. Mike has been a vocal advocate for the autism community since his son's diagnosis in 2008. As part of his 2011 campaign, 40 Miles for Autism, Mike raised almost $12,000 to benefit autism programs in the Maryland community. As a father of a child with autism, he is the father of a child with autism. My apologies. His philosophy is, if you don't laugh, you'll cry. Mike is presenting Autism Myths and Truths. Please welcome Mike to the stage, everyone.
All right, heads up. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5.
My goal is in the next 5 minutes to inspire each and every one of you to act and advocate for autism, because we truly need your help. Autism is a complex neurological disorder. That's pretty vague, isn't it? And that's part of the problem. They don't know what autism is, what causes it, or how to treat it. 1 in 50 children have autism, with a reported birth rate of 1 in 88. What's the discrepancy? Many children, after they are born, go through life the first few years and are typical, and then they regress. Here are some stats about our community and the birth rate, and you'll see on the next slide why that's relevant to the 1 in 50 and the 1 in 88. So 260 people will have autism in our community in the next 20 years. Now, that may not sound like a lot of people, but consider the impact that it can have on our community from an economic standpoint. The cost of raising a child with autism is $1.4 million. Cost of a typical child, $235,000. I make a good living. I don't have an extra $1.2 million to raise my son. Social. Some of the many things that can impact a person that has autism or is on the autism spectrum. The worst of it is my son can't tell me when these things are happening to him, or if he tries to, but can't effectively convey it. Special education. My son is in a classroom with 2 other students. Each one of them has a regular teacher and a secondary teacher, not to mention all the other takeout classes that he goes to in order to try and have a free and appropriate public education. Divorce rate's 80%. I'll be the first one to tell you, I love my wife to death. Having a child with autism puts a strain on our relationship. And I meet 2 kinds of parents: strong married couples and one struggling. What do we know about autism? Not much. Everybody's got theories, they have thoughts. It was an immunization, you did this, you did that, but nobody can concisely point to what causes it and how to repair it. So what do we need? We need more research. I need people like you to advocate. I need to raise awareness. Hopefully all of you are going to walk out of here tonight going, wow, I didn't know that. And we need acceptance. I can tell you right now, I love my son. Autism sucks. There is nothing about it that I enjoy. I have people say, oh, my son's, let me tell you, my son's condition is a nightmare. Speaking of which, that's Mikey. That's the face of autism. Looks autistic, doesn't he? That's the problem, you can't tell. My son looks like your son or your nephew or your cousin. Autism myths. I've heard every single one of these said to me by either a friend, a family member, or a medical professional. Autism truths. Believe it or not, it predominantly affects middle-aged, college-educated white parents. So, the number that you saw earlier about Carroll County, you can probably triple that because of the concentration of middle-aged, college-educated white people in our community. An organization that helps. The $12,000 that I raised went to Pathfinders for Autism. And I chose them because they're a Maryland-based nonprofit that directly works with families in our community. Through advocacy and resources and seminars, community support, autism-friendly events. I got to take my son to a baseball game because of Pathfinders. I get to take my son to Denny's because of Pathfinders. Autism is very real. It's becoming more prevalent. The autism community needs your support. And support can simply be, you have a family member that has a child on the spectrum, volunteer to babysit for them. That's the biggest thing that we miss, is going out and being a typical couple. Anybody wants to talk to me, you know someone that has a child on the spectrum and they're looking for support, please feel free to contact me or contact Pathfinders. Thank you very much.
Great job, Mike. Thank you very much. Next up, we have Jason Stanball. Jason is a third-generation entrepreneur, learning lessons about hard work and small business from his father's journey running a 50-year-old painting business. If you meet him online through social media, you'll read that he is a husband, father, former fat kid, accidental techie, new media marketer, entrepreneur, and founder of Revival and Hometown Startups. Over the next 5 years, Jason has the ambitious goal of catalyzing 40,000 new startups and pumping $10 million into small business development through his innovative local business startup contest model. Jason graduated summa cum laude from McDaniel College in 2007 and now lives with his wife and son here in Westminster. Jason is presenting Startup Local. Please welcome Jason.
Roll the show. Well, good evening, everyone. I am Jason Stanball, local entrepreneur. It is my privilege to be here with you this evening to tell you how you too can start up local. And I'm going to go through a whirlwind tour about how you can start and grow a business right here in Carroll County. But before I begin, I know most of you out there in the audience and those who may be watching this online later, you're thinking about starting a business, but it's just a small business. It's 1 to 4 employees. Well, I'm here to tell you that that's most of the businesses that are started in this country, and those are the businesses that are creating jobs. So thank you. And to help you on your way, to tell you how you can succeed, I wish I had a very simple formula with all the ingredients you need for success. But if I did, I'd be a multi-billionaire. But what I do know is that there are 4 primary ingredients that every startup business has to make it successful. Those 4 ingredients are, and starting with the first, is passion. Passion is undeniable when you see it. If your eyes don't widen and your blood pressure doesn't rise and you don't start talking with your hands about the business you're building and your product or service, you're in deep, deep trouble. Because passion is the catalyst to get you going. But here's the thing, when you meet a passionate person, as you know, passion takes them in a million directions at once and they get nowhere fast. And so they need something to direct and focus that. So it's a catalyst for building their business. And that thing that focuses and directs passion is that business dream. This is the point in which you can see the products and services you're going to offer, where you can see the smiles on your clients' faces, when you can see that ugly sweater that your employee is inevitably going to wear at the Christmas party. That is when you have your business dream and vision, and consequently, this is the most exciting time of being an entrepreneur. But then a cold, hard reality smacks you in the face, and that is that your dream will absolutely, positively not come true. It is going to have to be hammered and forged with a heck of a lot of hard work. And of course we know, oh, starting a business is so hard, there's so much work. But let me tell you what makes it so hard, is that there's work that you don't want to do, work that you don't know how to do, and then the worst kind, work that you didn't know that you had to do in the first place. And this is the wall that entrepreneurs hit. It's when their business dream fails and the idea becomes less rosy. But let's just say you did the hard work and your business is going pretty well and you're moving well. Your hard work needs to yield you cash. And this is something a lot of entrepreneurs forget. And in the best case scenario, if your work isn't yielding you cash, you have a very expensive hobby, or in worst case, you have yourself a failed business. And so another word about cash. I don't care how beautiful your logo is. I don't care how many people visited your website. I don't care how many people like your business idea. If people are not paying you money for products and services, you have a major problem. And so when you start up a business, focus on cash, focus on it early, focus on it awesome. And so our formula is passion plus dream plus work equals cash. You have to figure this out to make a business work. But it's really, really hard. A lot of folks fail. But the good news is in Carroll County, you do not have to do it alone. We have a wonderful organization called the Carroll Business Path. It's a collaboration between 5 local organizations. And the beauty is you make 1 phone call, set up 1 appointment, and you gain access to all of the resources that you need to be successful to start and grow your business here locally. And just to go through the partners, the first is Carroll County Department of Economic Development. They have 2 programs I want you to know about. There's a $25,000 small business loan program that is designed to get startups cash early, just before the point where they're bankable. And there's also a Permit Navigator program to help you figure out what you need to do to move into your brick and mortar location. The second partner is the Miller Center for Small Business at Carroll Community College. They're the master and commander of helping you figure out all of those things you don't know how to do when you start your business through all of their non-credit courses and their professional development opportunities. The third is the Carroll County Chamber of Commerce, and I've heard it said that if you're not visible, you're invisible, and that is precisely what the Chamber helps you to solve. They help you to get noticed and then build the relationships that you need to be successful growing your business here locally. The next partner is the SBTDC, and their core competency is private and confidential business coaching. They help you develop effective business plans and help you navigate the process of gaining access to capital from organizations like the SBA. They also have tons of free resources on their website. You need to check it out. And last but not least, and our wonderful host for this evening is the Carroll Tech Council. They are your guide to 21st century technology and how you can use it to build your business through lots of tech seminars and events like tonight. And so that rounds out the Carroll Business Path. And just to give you two events that are coming up, the first is we have the Pitch Across Maryland bus is coming to Land, Sea, and Air, the old Kenora Brake Building, on September 23rd. I think we have a full line of folks pitching, but you can still come to network and meet other entrepreneurs in the community. The second event is the Carroll Biz Challenge, and this is an opportunity for local entrepreneurs to pitch their startup businesses to compete for a $5,000 cash prize in an absolutely exciting event. The applications are now open. The deadline is October 15th, and if you want to come watch the show, that's on November 22nd. And so with that, folks, to recap, passion plus dream plus work equals cash. That's the secret sauce. And in order to get all that right, please make a phone call to the Business Path, and you'll be well on your way to starting and growing your business right here in Carroll County. Thank you.
Well done, Jason. Excellent stuff there. All right, we're gonna keep this thing rolling. So, Becky Mario, is that right? Okay, Becky Mario. Becky is an educator who has worked with students from age 9 to 89. Her passions include travel, photography, learning new things, and building connections between ideas and people. Becky's presentation is, and I even have my high school Spanish teacher in the audience, so let's try not to butcher this, Vince. All right. La importancia de estudiar otra idioma. No, not even close. I'm gonna let Becky handle this one, so please welcome Becky, everyone. Thank you.
Muy buenas noches. Es un placer estar aquí con ustedes para hablar hoy sobre la importancia y los beneficios de estudiar otro idioma. Yo me creía en Pensilvania y mis primeras experiencias con inmigrantes y con otras lenguas eran muy limitadas. Sí, a veces mezclamos vocabulario en ruso o italiano, pero comunicamos en inglés. En este contexto, pensé que el inglés era suficiente para mí. Como no conocía personas de otros países, pensé que no necesitaba estudiar más que el mínimo de español en el colegio. Tomé 2 años y terminaron mis estudios. Igual me llamaron la atención los estudiantes que venían de intercambio a mi colegio. Eran interesantes, exóticos, sabían del mundo fuera de mi pequeño pueblo. ¿Sería posible para mí estudiar, viajar así? En realidad sí, era posible. Y después de graduarme, tuve la oportunidad de pasar 1 año de intercambio. La oportunidad era como un sueño cumplido para mí. Viajé al Ecuador en 1990. Todo era nuevo, diferente. Mi familia no hablaba inglés y yo casi no hablaba español. La comunicación era difícil. En los primeros días, los primeros momentos, tenía muchas experiencias nuevas, diferentes. Estas fueron una de mis primeras palabras. Así empezó mi educación en español. Las lecciones diarias eran la base para la comunicación con mi familia y también con mis nuevos amigos. Con esta comunicación compartí muchas experiencias con ellos, experiencias que forman quién soy yo hasta hoy. Con más español podía apreciar todo lo que forma la experiencia humana. No importa el vocabulario, las emociones, las experiencias son iguales. Cambió mi punto de vista y cómo miraba el mundo. Tenía más curiosidad, más paciencia, más empatía. Y por supuesto, aumentó el número de personas con quien puedo comunicar. Pero es más que poder comunicar. Aprender otro idioma tiene un efecto, un impacto internal muy significativo. Hay muchos beneficios que vienen con el estudio de otro idioma. Los expertos dicen que las personas que hablan dos idiomas tienen más flexibilidad mental, tienen la capacidad para resolver problemas y pensar de una manera crítica. Dicen que aprender otro idioma no solo es una actividad lingüística, es también una actividad cognitiva. Usa el cerebro, ayuda el cerebro a hacer conexiones que antes no existían. Los estudiantes muestran mayor habilidad con su primer idioma. Imagínate, estudio español y mi vocabulario, mi gramática en inglés mejora. Pero los efectos no solo se realizan en el campo lingüístico. Los estudiantes también sacan mejores notas en matemáticas y en los exámenes estándares. Otra gran ventaja es con el trabajo. Los médicos, los que trabajan en finanzas, las personas que tienen una posición que necesitan hablar con el público, cualquier posición que necesita comunicar, tienen ventaja y más oportunidades. No importa la carrera, hay muchas ventajas en ser bilingüe. Y si tomamos en cuenta las habilidades en resolver problemas y pensar de una manera crítica, una persona bilingüe es un empleado especial. Estas son habilidades importantes. De hecho, son las habilidades más buscadas, más solicitadas por las compañías grandes y también las compañías locales. No importa la carrera. Además, hay evidencia de que estudiar otro idioma ayuda a evitar demencia y la enfermedad Alzheimer. Es una actividad que garantiza que el cerebro sea activo y uno no tendrá problemas cognitivos. Así que el estudio de otro idioma abre el mundo, pero también tiene muchos beneficios para una persona. Muchas gracias.
I wish I knew something stronger than muy bien. That just doesn't really, that was fantastico? Does that? Muy bien, that was great, thank you. All right. Finally, before we break for our intermission, our final presenter in the first half is Jan Baum. Jan is a leader in bringing the 3D printing and rapid technology agenda to the greater Baltimore region and is the founder and director of Object Lab, a comprehensive state-of-the-art rapid technologies and digital fabrication lab, which was a 2012 finalist for Smart CEO Magazine's Leader in Technology Volt Award. Jan is presenting 3D printing, snake oil or salvation. Please welcome Jan.
All right, I'm going to talk about 3D printing and rapid technologies tonight, technologies that are transforming our world. There's a lot of hype out there, which begs the question, is it snake oil or is it salvation? In 2011, there were 1,600 stories in the media about 3D printing. In 2012, there were 16,000. I invite you to be the judge. 3D printing is like inkjet printing, except instead of ink on a piece of paper, physical materials lay down on a build platform that lowers, allowing each successive layer to be put down. One of the inputs is 3D scanning, and here's a scan of Senate President Mike Miller. There's three main parts of the 3D printing ecosystem: 3D scanning, or imaging existing objects; 3D design, drawing an object that you want to print in computer software; and then the 3D printing itself. That never happens. We see a lot of things like this out there today, which kind of points to the snake oil. But what is important about this is that it demonstrates that technologies are accessible and we have a cognitive surplus. Within 6 months of the 123D product line from Autodesk being launched, it was downloaded 120 million times. Every society has its challenges, whether that's man-made, given to us by nature, or the result of a globally evolving world. 3D printing has been used to address all of these challenges. And in order to be competitive, we need to use the best tools to approach those challenges. 3D printing is game-changing technology that's transforming our world and our lives from the personal to the industrial, giving us mass customization, optimized products prior to commercialization, and leanly manufactured complex geometry. As humans, we have a few things going for us. One are our opposable thumbs, another one is our imagination. And with these technologies, if we can imagine new solutions, we can create them. And one of the things that's made America great is doing hard things together. Those are some of the furthest reaches of technology. When the Gutenberg press came out, people thought it was really cool. In 2012, when we printed a violin in a few hours, people thought that was pretty cool. We need to be innovative and entrepreneurial in our work. The pace of change is great, and we need to make what we innovate. We can print in over 100 materials today, from a wide range of plastics to glass to metal. A lot of people say, how much does this cost, Jan? Well, there's a little chart out there about a 2-inch bunny. In plastic, it costs $7. In stainless steel, it costs $31. The primary uses of 3D printing today are proof of concept, iterative prototyping, functional fit testing, tool making, pattern making, and end-use products. And what we get from these technologies are faster, cheaper, and more agile product development and manufacturing. Printing gives us what we want, when we want it, with lights-out manufacturing. Optimized products prior to commercialization, lighter weight products. With a multiplier effect, this results in huge savings, especially in an industry like aerospace. Customization, small batch manufacturing. The world's biggest manufacturer, GE, is committed to advancing these technologies from energy to healthcare. In 2020, GE is expected to be printing tens of thousands of parts on jet engines alone. GE is engaging new ways of working, teaming up with entities like Quirky and GrabCAD. The aerospace industry is one that has led the way with 3D printing. Boeing has been studying and certifying non-critical parts for 10 years. There are over 60,000 3D printed parts that are flying around out there on aircraft today, ones that you might even have traveled on. The sweet spot for rapid manufacturing is in low volume, high value products. And so here are some stats from the medical field, and that's another of the 3 industries that are really advancing these technologies. So the aligners and Invisalign braces, hearing aids, and titanium hip implants. One of the biggest challenges, I think, in getting this technology more integrated into our workflow is getting our industrial era brains to understand new tools. New tools and new ways of working require new thinking. We have complex computing systems that give us topologically optimized forms. We also need to transform our schools and our workplaces into places of action, engagement, innovation, and entrepreneurship. We need STEM, absolutely, and we also need STEAM. We need to be creating creative, non-routine workers. It took 20 years for the 3D printing industry to get to the $1 billion mark, and it took 6 years to get to the $2 billion mark. Roughly the time of the fall of the Berlin Wall to the Great Recession of 2008. And we are not alone in our pursuit of these technologies. There's a lot of hype out there, and there's also a lot of true success stories that are really great. I do think that we're headed to for the trough of disillusionment based on the amount of hype that's out there, but on the other side is a plateau of productivity. And the sweet spot for 3D printing is hybridizing manufacturing, making new capabilities and options available, making new things possible. So, snake oil or salvation? Neither. We are our own salvation, and we know that. Elbow grease, discipline, smarts, these are the things that made America the world leader that it has been, and we need to get back to basics just with some new tools. So we need to take the challenge to radically shift our thinking about how we're going to address today's challenges. We need to take courage, embrace new tools that we don't quite understand in order to be globally competitive and to continue to play a constructive role in the world.
You know, I've got some ideas for my brewing system, Jan. We might be able to talk. Yeah, I've got some big ideas. My wife's not going to like it, but I'm going to make more beer. Okay, we are at intermission. So thank you to the first half. Please stick around for second half. We got a lot more in store. All right. I hope everyone's made it back in from the lobby. Before we get started with the second half of the presentations, I want to invite up Tracy Turner once again. She's the Carroll Tech Council Administrator and has a few words to say to everyone. So, Tracy?
Thank you, Vince. This is my cheat sheet. I want to welcome everybody again to the second half of Ignite Carroll 2. I'm having a great time tonight. Is everybody here having a good time? Yeah, that's good. I'd like to thank our sponsors again. We can't thank them enough. We have Carroll County Economic Development and Carroll Magazine and Hometown Startups. We couldn't do it without you, so thank you very much. More thank yous. I also want to thank the Community Media Center. Eric is here tonight filming this for us. They filmed it in January as well, and then he personally splices the videos, helps us load them up to YouTube, and then you can watch them again on the Ignite website. He also will prepare the video in a full stream, I guess is the right word for it, for you to watch on Channel 19, and I'll let you all know when that's going to be ready for you to view. I also want to thank the Carroll Arts Center for letting us host our event here tonight. Tabitha and Will and Sue have been wonderful. It's always a great experience to be here. And I want to thank Jim Beaver from Airco for the ice donation. He assists us every event we have. If we need ice, Jim is our guy. I think Jim just got the most applause this evening, just for ice, because that's what kept your beer cold. So, goodness. I also want to thank Mike and Matt, our bartenders from McDaniel College. I thought they did a wonderful job. They are accepting tips. They are poor college students. We do have, for my final thank you, I just want to remind you our next event, big event, is the Technically Speaking Dinner in November, on November 16th. If you're interested in sponsoring this wonderful evening, or you just like to purchase tickets for it, we're going to have it at the Portico in Westminster. And Jan Baum, who spoke tonight, will present again on 3D technology, as well as Michael Raphael from Direct Dimensions. And he's a regional guy as well. I think he's in Owings Mills. And they're really bringing 3D technology to the forefront, and we're excited to have them as featured speakers for this event. Lastly, I want to thank our volunteers, the Education Committee, everybody here who had a hand in helping support this event tonight. We couldn't have done it without you. You have had the best attitude, unfailing, I can't even think of the word, but it's been a lot of fun to work with you. It's the best committee on the Tech Council. I want to say that right now. Thank you, volunteers. And there's something that I've been in the volunteer industry for much of my adult life. I have children that have gone through the public school system, and there's a saying that I'm very fond of, and it's, some people see a glass as half full, some people see a glass as half empty. A volunteer sees a glass of water and looks for someone who's thirsty. I know, right? Good. So thank you all for coming tonight. I hope you enjoy the rest of the show.
Thank you, Tracy. She is an integral part of that committee and everything at the CTC. She is the glue that holds us all together. So thank you once again to Tracy Turner. All right. Here we go. So our next presenter is Rob Agarwal, right? All right. Rob is a graduate from the Johns Hopkins University. He has worked for consulting and investment services firms. He is the founder of two social and community building organizations called Geek Rock and Take It Easy Productions. In 2011, he co-founded a healthcare strategy consulting firm called Novell Health Strategies. During his free time, he helps various nonprofits in the DC area. Rob is presenting advice from the greatest entrepreneurs. Please, everybody, welcome Rob.
Hello. I'll try to keep the momentum of the Ignite Carroll, a really excellent presentation so far. So we all have received, and we give a lot of advice all the time, but it's quite rare to get good advice. So I thought of putting together the best advice that we have received from some of the greatest entrepreneurs of our time. To start with, first is Steve Jobs. I mean, he has said a number of things which will be inspirational for us for years to come. But there was one thing which I thought somebody had told me in my high school years or during my college years, which would have been very useful to me, which was the idea of how things connect. And what he wanted to say was that the ideas, the events, the people that we experience in our life, they all connect together in amazingly surprisingly, in amazingly positive ways in our life. The key thing is basically to make sure that we have these so-called interesting dots more and more in our life. And I'm hoping today that this Ignite Carroll is one of the interesting dots in my life. And one of the things, and the next one in this is Bill Gates. And this, you might be surprised and you might find it funny. One of the things that Bill Gates, one of the world's richest men, said that life is not fair. We should get used to it. And this is, I'm sure, some of us has said it many times. And the other thing he has said is about that success is a lousy teacher, that sometimes entrepreneurs, they get complacent and they stop innovating. In my experience, I found that success can actually be addictive, that at times I've used it for mentoring, where in some cases, people who were underperforming, when for the first time they tasted success, that success was so addictive, they wanted more and more of it. And the next one is, okay, that was 15 seconds, is Jeff Bezos, who created the business empire of Amazon. One of the things he said was about how in business meetings we typically ask the question of why are we doing this. His advice was we should be thinking about why we are not doing this, which I thought was quite powerful. And one of the things he said was about that we should be willing to be misunderstood. Many times I've been in large business corporate meetings where you have 20 people and nobody would say anything because everybody's afraid to be misunderstood, or they feel they might say something wrong. However, you have to take the chance and you have to say something. Well, founders of Google, not surprising, one of the things that they said was that if you're doing something, when you're changing the world, you're always excited to get up in the morning. And I believe in the same thing. I think we all need to have a job or do things that excites us, which is an inspiration to get up in the morning. Howard Schultz, he created the business empire of Starbucks. 20 years ago, people would have laughed at the idea of buying coffee for $4 or $5, but he again challenged those old way of thinking and created something which is now one of the biggest business empires. Mark Zuckerberg, well, he said something called embrace paranoia. Honestly, I don't understand what that means. I'll leave it to you to guess. I think we need to give him another 5-10 years to say something which might be helpful for us in the future. But one thing I would say that we shouldn't do, which Mark Zuckerberg did, was he was carrying around this business card which said this, which I think would be my advice, that you shouldn't do something like this. It would hurt you in your business career. And the next one is John Mackey, who created the business empire of Whole Foods. One of the things he said was about, again, the idea of constantly learning and growing, which I've used in my life, where if I think I'm not learning in my job or in my profession, it's a time to move on. And he, just like Jeff Bezos, he also talked about that we should be willing to make mistakes. If you're trying to grow, there's just no way that you will not make mistakes. So I think we have to be prepared to take those chances and to make some mistakes. Herb Keller, who created Southwest. Well, he said something very simple, but it's quite powerful. We all like to talk about ideas and strategies, but the key thing is actually the person who actually gets the things done. So again, we have to basically keep that focus that we want to do great things. Narayana Murthy, who created Infosys, he made the point about, again, we have to make an investment for the future, so we have to make some sacrifices today, and we have to have that vision of long-term, which is not an easy thing. You have to, again, have that long-term strategy while you're doing things. Sam Walton, who created Walmart, well, his idea was simple: give people what they want. And in his case, people wanted discounted products, so he created the biggest discount chain, which was became one of the biggest retail outlets in the world. Next one, Muhammad Yunus, he got the Nobel Peace Prize. He created a microfinance bank where the idea was basically giving these small gifts, which in his words become and produce really big impacts. And a good example is Facebook, for example. It was created out of just $1,000 investment, and that became one of the biggest companies. And that's the closing words that he said that human beings are much bigger than just making money. I know there's an old saying from Wall Street that greed is good, which I think we have to just just take his words that we are more than just greed. We are basically about doing much bigger things. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you, Rob. If you didn't notice, the bold was changing. There was slides that were kind of the same, so it may have looked like there was something wrong, but it was actually making different points there. Moving right along, we have Bruce Walgreen. Bruce is the president of the Workforce Excellence Group. His company serves the community in two ways: by teaching job seekers how to rapidly connect to employment while designing the life they want, and helping career development professionals stay on the cutting edge of their profession. Bruce is presenting Landing a Job in Tough Times. Please, everyone, welcome Bruce to the stage.
We've all heard about the jobless recovery, and we've either been affected by it personally or we know somebody who has. The problem is that the rules to landing a job have changed. Here's the context. The old roadmap to success was finish school, get a good job, do a good job, and you'll reap the rewards. That world no longer exists. Welcome to the protean workplace, where there are no jobs for life anymore, no guaranteed benefits or paychecks, companies and jobs that are here today, gone tomorrow, and fewer full-time jobs. Two trends have contributed to this workplace shift. One is technology. We all know that technology has replaced lots of jobs. It's also created many jobs. Second is globalization. Globalization has moved many jobs overseas. There are two other things that are contributing to this too. The Great Recession of 2008 reinforced it as companies slashed costs, and we really don't know yet how the Affordable Health Care Act is going to impact jobs, but we've already seen some companies moving to using fewer employers and more contractors. Welcome to the protean workforce. So this is based on the Greek god Proteus, who is known for being able to predict the future and being able to adapt himself to survive in that future. One of the ways we need to adapt in this new workplace is thinking multiple streams of income rather than putting all of our eggs in one basket. Businesses still need to get work done, but don't necessarily want employees to do it. They're looking for contractors. So while there may be unlimited or maybe limited jobs, there are unlimited opportunities, especially for those who think of themselves as independent contractors or a business of one. We must become opportunity seekers. Whether working for ourselves or for others, we need to think like an entrepreneur. There's a common theme here tonight, isn't there? We must depend on our own creativity and resourcefulness. There are some protean principles that we need to understand. We have to assume full responsibility for our own careers. We must rethink what we think we know. And we must embrace change. Change is no longer optional, but required. We also need to act deliberately. We have to safeguard our physical and emotional health, and we must think of ourselves as free agents, a business of one. So there are 5 things that we need to do. We need to manage our emotions, align work with who we are, create a marketing campaign for our product, which is us, have a plan and implement it, and master a few essential skills. We need to get our emotions working for us instead of against us. If we don't, we get stuck and we can't move on. You see, I learned all this personally when after 30 years of helping people connect to jobs after they'd been laid off, my own job disappeared about 2 years ago, and I was a mess. Until I asked myself 2 questions. What do I want out of life? And what do I want to give back? In answering these questions, I realized I had an opportunity to do good and to do well at the same time, and I started my own business. I realized there was no way I'd get noticed if I used the same boring chronological obituary resume that everybody else was using. I figured if I can't get excited about myself, how can anybody else? So instead, I created marketing tools and a campaign that got me and my potential customers excited. You have to have a plan. Like other successful protean opportunity seekers, I launched a job campaign that I was in charge of instead of a search. I had target dates, goals, and a specific focus. Recognizing that networking is still one of the most effective ways to land a job or opportunity, I reached out to people personally, and I also learned to connect with thousands of people through social media. The advice today is get LinkedIn or get left out. I learned how to confidently present myself, whether by phone, video, or in person. These are the same skills one needs in a job interview. And I learned to ask for compensation that reflected the value that I was adding. So there you have it, the 5 things I did, which will also work for other job or opportunity seekers in today's world. Think Protean, always keeping an eye on the future, adapting and reinventing ourselves to succeed there. After all, it is our future. Thank you.
Nicely done, Bruce. Thank you. Next up, we have Denise Beaver. Denise is a local connector. Linking people, things, and experiences is her passion. She enjoys artistic expressions, nature, and as you will soon learn, she really likes essential oils. Please welcome, Denise is presenting There's an Oil for That. Please help me welcome my friend, Denise Beaver.
So last August, I was visiting my sister in Utah, and we were walking around Park City for a little bit. And later that night, I said, wow, my knees really ache. And she said, there's an oil for that. She got me this amazing rub that had essential oils in it. I put it on my knees, and almost instantly, I felt better. These are some plants. If you've ever smelled a rose or fresh cut lemon, you've experienced essential oils. Up in the upper right is melaleuca. Then we have frankincense, and myrrh, and eucalyptus, melissa, ginger, and lang lang. Essential oils are taken from various parts of plants, so they're 100% natural. They're 50 to 70 times more powerful than herbs, and they're used in cosmetic, foods, and health solutions. Some even fight bacteria and viruses. Essential oils have been used throughout history. The Egyptians were some of the early ones to use essential oils, and along the trade routes, some of the oils were so valuable that they were traded for gold. And they were used throughout history, as I said, in Europe and also in World War II. The best way to experience essential oils is to smell them in. And it's amazing when you smell something in, the oils can actually affect your metabolic rates, they can influence your mood, and this is your olfactory system. I don't know if you've learned this in school, but it's really complicated. When you smell something in, your olfactory system has to translate it into a smell and then link it to memory. And so it can really affect a lot of different processes in your body. In addition to smelling and inhaling essential oils, you can also use them topically and you can also use them internally. But there are some safety precautions to keep in mind in that you have to use 100% pure grade essential oils. This is a carrier oil, and it's often mixed with essential oils so that you can use them topically. It's stain resistant, it's clear, it's odorless, you can eat it, you can use it on your skin. It's really good for a lot of things. One of the places that's best to put essential oils on your body is on your feet because they are absorbed really quickly through your skin. And a couple other places are behind your ears and on your wrists. So you can experience them. Doesn't this look wonderful? I think many of you probably have had a wonderful massage, and it can create balance and harmony and can make you feel physically better. And if you add a couple essential oils to it, it can even have added benefits to that. But essential oils you can also use for green cleaning. You can make some simple solutions for your home that are totally natural. You can put a little bit of vinegar and water in a bottle, add a couple essential oils to it, and voila, you have an instant glass and appliance cleaner. Think of lemon and cinnamon and peppermint in your teas and in your cookies and cakes and things that you're making around the house. You can add them to honey and water and sauces and salad dressings, and it really spices things up. Some common essential oils are lavender, lemon, and peppermint. Lavender's really good. It's anti-inflammatory. It helps you relax. Lemon kind of cleans everything and is very invigorating. Peppermint is also very invigorating. In fact, I had a little peppermint oil drop before I got up here. So lavender oil in your home, you can diffuse it. I was thinking about diffusing it throughout the auditorium here, but I wasn't sure that would work. So it relieves stress, and you can also use it for cooking. Lemon oil, as I said, it disinfects everything. It adds a lot of zip to food, and it also fights bacteria and viruses, so that's very good. Gives you an energy boost when you need one. I like to put lemon oil in my water. So peppermint oil is next, and that is good to diffuse to help create airflow, and it also gives you a boost of energy. It does perk you up. Spiders hate peppermint oil, which is one thing why I like it. You can spread it around your house, and it's great also for anything chocolate, adding peppermint oil in. There's a lot of good research that's going on. One that piqued my interest was this research in the laboratory on oregano and how it can be very effective to fight some of these nasty bacteria, viruses, parasites, and things. So, and what's really neat is there is now a website called aromaticscience.com, and it's a place where researchers can collaborate and they can create forums and put their research together so that you can learn more about essential oils and advance the research. So hopefully you've learned that, essential oils are many of these things and that they're very natural. They can be antiseptic, they can be relaxing, they can be cooling, they can, be aromatic and therapeutic for you. So I hope that the next time you have a headache or you have achy bones and that you can think about essential oils. You can use them for green cleaning, and you can say, there's an oil for that.
You got me thinking about homebrew again. And putting essential oil in some homebrew sounds, yeah, we'll talk. I want to start connecting with all these presenters. All right, next up is Roxana Harlow. I got that right? Yes, all right. Roxana is founder and executive director of Higher Learning, Inc., a local nonprofit providing educational programming for youth. She's also a member of the Carroll County chapter of Healthcare is a Human Right, Maryland. She had to give up access to medical care when she decided to serve the youth of Carroll County by starting a nonprofit organization. She believes that's a choice she never should have had to make. Roxana is presenting Healthcare is a Human Right. Please welcome Roxana.
Good evening. I'm representing the Carroll County chapter of Healthcare as a Human Right, Maryland. How many of you all know someone who has struggled with the challenges of healthcare and the cost of healthcare, either the cost of medicine, the cost of co-pays, the cost of having to provide insurance for your employees? It's a big, big problem. I notice a lot of hands going up. It's a huge problem that Healthcare as a Human Right is trying to solve. So we are a grassroots movement to establish publicly funded, statewide, universal health care for every person in Maryland from birth until death. We're guided by these human rights principles that health care should be universal, equitably distributed, it should be a transparent process, a participatory process, and more importantly, that health care should be seen as a public good, like our roads, like our schools, and it should be funded publicly. We believe everyone should have access to health care without having to pay what you don't have, without losing everything you do have, losing your house, without co-pays or insurance hassles, without businesses having to bear the burden of health care. If you're sick, you should be treated, period. A lot of people say that sounds good, but it's never going to happen. But in fact, it's already happened. It's happened in Vermont. They have passed a bill establishing universal health care in their state that is publicly funded, and it's set to go to be implemented in the year 2017. In fact, in the state of Maryland even, we've already started this process. The Maryland Health Security Act was previously introduced to the Maryland State Legislature as a publicly funded system. It's been proven to be feasible, less expensive than the current system we have, but there's been no public discussion and no public pressure until now. If we in Maryland establish a publicly funded system We could save over $10 billion with a B dollars alone just in overhead costs and what we would save being able to negotiate with pharmaceutical companies. A lot of people say, well, if it's publicly funded, it's still going to be too expensive. The fact is that the current insurance-based system is completely unsustainable at this point. We have the costs have skyrocketed out of control, and we spend much more than comparable peer countries in healthcare. If you look, the United States spends double or more than double than comparative countries. We spend, right now, we spend close to $8,000 a year per person in healthcare, and the problem is that we spend more, but we have much poorer results. The United States spends the most, but we have the lowest life expectancy. We have the highest, one of the highest infant mortality rates of peer countries, and we actually have higher infant mortality rates than many developing countries. So we spend a lot, have much poorer results. If we look at medical bankruptcy, 15,000 medical bankruptcies in Maryland each year. Over 60% of all bankruptcies are actually caused by medical bills and illness. And of those people who went bankrupt, 2/3 of those had health insurance. If you think it's bad for those with insurance, think about those who are uninsured. About 14% of Maryland's population is uninsured, 800 preventable deaths annually, and the Affordable Care Act won't fix that. It'll still leave almost 400,000 people uninsured, and that doesn't include the cost of pharmaceuticals and the increasing cost of insurance. A publicly funded healthcare system puts people first. Everyone gets care when needed. It saves money. It saves billions with the B dollars for both the state, and if it was implemented nationwide, it would save billions for the nation. In addition, a publicly funded system actually increases the freedom that we have. It increases our freedom to choose our doctor, to choose our, what care we need without having the insurance companies get in the middle of that. We don't have to worry about going bankrupt, and we can actually see a doctor before we get super sick. A lot of people think, well, that's socialized medicine. They get scared by that idea, but a single-payer, publicly funded system is not socialized medicine. It's just that it's a publicly funded system that is privately provided. So, a publicly funded system that's rooted in these human rights principles of universality, equity, accountability, transparency, and participation actually puts people first, not profits, assures quality health care for everyone at a sustainable cost. The only thing, though, is that we need to let our state representatives know this is what we want, that we want people to have health care. So it won't happen without your voice and others like you to make our representatives listen to what most of us want and need. Nobody wants to go broke just because they get sick. Everyone wants care. So let's make it happen if you believe everybody should have health care when they need it without having to worry about bills, without having to worry about hassle. This is something that is doable. We can do it. Come to our monthly meetings. Share this information with people to let them know that this is going on, that there is a movement to make health care affordable, not even affordable, to make health care available to everyone. And for more information, please see me after. I can hand you this information because you can't copy it down here in the dark. Please see me after. I'm happy to share more information with you and more information about what we're doing. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Roxana. That was great. I don't know about you, but all these presentations are fantastic. Hope you're all sharing them online and using the hashtag Ignite Carroll and taking some pics and stuff. We're at the home stretch now. We just have 2 remaining. Patrick Wynn is next. Patrick brings 25 years of experience in strategic and business development consulting to the role of program director of the Howard Tech Council, where he is uniquely suited as leader and advisor to early-stage technology companies. Throughout his career, he has leveraged a solid background in cybersecurity, enterprise applications, wireless, banking, and strategic IT consulting markets. Patrick is presenting a journey, at times a quest, to find purpose. Please welcome Patrick Wynn.
Okay, what I'm going to talk about has nothing to do with my bio. It has to do with my journey for the last 53 years, and I'm going to compress it down into 5 minutes. I'm one of 7 kids. Lower middle class family, grew up in Cockeysville. There's a picture. That's me on the left, by the way. I wore that jacket once. I hated that damn thing. 6 kids in 8 years. We were blessings. My sister, who was born 8 years after my younger brother, was in fact planned. One of 750 kids in my class at Delaney High School. I'm shy, I'm awkward, I'm a good student, I'm a good athlete, but I'm kind of lost in the mix. Just like I'm a middle kid in my family. You know, I felt so insignificant. I was the tallest kid in my class. I lost the senior superlative in the yearbook for tallest kid to a popular guy. I'm trying to find purpose, and I can't even get recognition for something that's actually measurable. I think it's pretty doggone ridiculous. So college is different. Best 5 years of my life, helped to shape me. I learned socialization, I learned celebration, I learned the art of dating. I played 4 years of basketball at Salisbury as well. Started for 2 years. That's actually the 1950s. That's not me, but but I had purpose. Probably one of the risks associated with the focus that I had was my GPA. It suffered a bit. See, it was on crutches, and actually, to protect my integrity, I kind of blacked out the number there. But I was lucky enough. I did have a GPA. I was allowed to graduate. As a matter of fact, my junior year, I was called in by my counselor, and they said, "You haven't declared a major." I'm like, shit, I should do something. So I realized the amount of credits that I had gotten. I'm like, well, liberal studies, all you have to do is accumulate credits and you're out the door. So I was. Next part of my life, the lost years, really it's a year and a half. I lived at home, I worked at a liquor store, I learned the arts of card playing, drinking with my brothers, and I was able to play some additional basketball. I learned about cigars. I visited friends in Carroll County on the left. And I also learned a little bit about fine scotch with purpose. I was purposefully irresponsible. I learned about money. I had some jingle in my pocket because I lived at home. I didn't make a lot of money because it was in the liquor store. I was fine-tuning the art of dating, and I had my first new car. I was loving life, and I was living large. Until New Year's Eve, 1984, I met my soon-to-be wife. Kaki Bruska, 1983 grad of Western Maryland College. This is the beginning of growing up. This is the beginning of getting out of the sense of really being on vacation or being a fool and digging deep and being responsible in business. I was a great business development person. My income grew year over year. It allowed us to have a beautiful family. My daughter, on the upper left-hand side, by the way, anybody in here knows Asa Cakes, Charm City Cakes? That's Mary Alice on the left, and that's my daughter. My daughter's the communication manager of Charm City Cakes now. My son is a sophomore at McDaniel College. I wanted to represent the growth of my income. We were keeping score by accumulating stuff and doing things, and it was awesome until the tech bubble burst in 2001. And it burst hard. I struggled to find purpose. I was a coach. I still played basketball, but I was a coach. I coached my kids for 10 years, and I really enjoyed it. My job was a job. It wasn't a career. And I really went to folks that I saw near and dear to me at the GBTC and the Carroll Tech Council, Steve Kozak, Scott Edelman. I got pointed to Tracy and I got pointed to Ron. I found out that there was an opening in Howard County, and I pursued it. My first CEO was Laura Newman, who's now the county executive of Anne Arundel County. Larry Tweel, you all remember Larry? And Julie Lenzer-Kirk. I was asked to take over a tech council that had been dead for about a year. We had 8 members when we started. If you look at June of 12, 8-member companies, to August, that accelerated growth, that was me going out making calls and telling people about the vision. The vision for the Howard Tech Council is what you folks do in Carroll County. Out of the 6 tech councils in this region, you guys were the exemplar that I use to build community. I'm proud to be associated with you, and I'm proud to continue the journey with you. Thank you.
Yeah, Patrick. One more time for Patrick. I can't believe we're at the end here. Is there anyone else that's got a PowerPoint that wants to come up after Kevin? Like, seriously, I just want to keep this night going. This has been so inspiring. I hope everyone's getting ignited by all of these stories, personal and entrepreneurial, and things, real things that are happening. So we're at the end now, and I'd like to get Kevin Gifhorn up here. We have Kevin, with early careers as an Army officer and engineer, Kevin often describes himself as an accidental educator. Now, with over 16 years of classroom experience and founder of an educational software company, he is very excited about educational technology and how it will shape the classroom in the near future. Kevin's presentation is Why Technology Won't Fix Education. Please, everyone, welcome Kevin.
Great, so I get a follow-up on Patrick, and I'm what's between you guys and Rafi's, so thank God for 5 minutes. Okay, like we said, I've been teaching here in Carroll County now going on 12 years, and what's really interesting is several years ago I decided to follow through with an educational software company, but the reason I did that was I wanted to focus on productivity. I wanted to really see what can we do. There's a ton of trends. Many of you remember new math, then the language, phonics, holistic, then we have all the new acronyms, and many of these look for one device to fix everything, to bring it all together. But then you have to look at what does it look like in the classroom. Well, with the teachers, we started off with sand back in Greece, then the chalkboard. Hands down, the overhead projector was the most influential device in the classroom. I'm serious. It allowed teachers to get their lessons done ahead of time and reuse them, and allowed teachers to be more productive. Then we had a computer, whiteboards. We hooked up a computer to a projector, but now we have interactive technology. The teachers have a lot more time to be productive. It allows teachers to spend more time thinking about what they do. But what I want you to realize here is the focus needs to be why. What are we doing with this technology? As I said, I'm focusing on the productivity, and that's where I think teachers are doing a good job with that. Now let's look at students. That's what they have. That's what I used. And then they started to use this. That 3-ring binder is the same binder my kids use today that I use, that my grandfather used. And that's the technology overall that they're using to be productive in the classroom. Look at that classroom there and look at this classroom now. Focus on how they're taking notes. And it's pretty much the same way. One device, paper and pencil. So what I was looking at here is how educational technology works. Lots of people talk about what we can do, and I always throw why. Why do you want to do that? What's the purpose of doing it? Make sure there's a reason to do it just because, well, we can do it. Because then when we started looking at this, we started trying to figure out what's the right technology. 1980s, through the computer in the classroom. We had Oregon Trail, we had Carmen Sandiego, but it was very limited. A couple kids at once, limited teacher professional development. Hands down, this one here blew me away. People said, we should use a Palm Pilot for kids to take notes. Look at that kid. He's taking notes on that. That's the worst way for a kid to take notes. I mean, that keyboard is 3 times as big as his device. So then people said, laptops, netbooks, that'll do it. And that's great in social studies and English. How are you going to type that into a laptop or a notebook? It's not going to work that way. So again, people keep saying, well, what can we do? 2010, Steve Jobs. The iPad will do it. Except it wasn't made for education. Steve Jobs didn't make this for the classroom, but some people said, but we can use it there. And that's where I throw right back at them. Why? What are you doing with it? Well, now come the fights. We've got an iPad. I think it's the Nexus. No, the Kindle Fire. The bottom line is, why are you using it at all? People say you can read books. You can read a book on a book. You can read it on a Kindle. Why are you using it? And then they say, well, we can take notes on it. Yes, we can, if you want to take notes on something even smaller than the paper they're taking it on now. Since when do we say harder to write means better? How does that help students be more productive? And that's really my biggest thing here. What is the right answer? Well, I look at all of these here. Don't look at the technology, look at that end result. Let's focus on making students more productive. And that's really what it needs to be. Teachers are more productive, we need to make them. We need a bigger tablet. We need something where students can sit in the classroom, take handwritten notes and type notes. They take those, and when they're done, these notes get saved somewhere, so they don't just sit on that tablet. When they go home, they're working on a laptop computer. They bring up those same notes, which this works best for keyboards, maybe doing some highlighting, using multiple sources. Those same notes get merged together, and when they're going from there to soccer practice, they can then grab that smartphone and they can access those same notes. Imagine being able to do quick reviews, finger highlights, digital sticky notes. But imagine students being able to be productive anywhere, anytime, on any device. And you can start to see how it's not going to be one piece. It's going to be all of these pieces working in conjunction for a goal. And the goal here is being productive. The goal isn't because we can write on a tablet. The goal is, let's let students work on this anywhere. I'm a teacher. I'm a president of a company, but I'm a parent. And I want to make sure my child, my students, can be productive. And I truly believe the best way is to improve note-taking, and the best way to do that is to work on the educational experience. Thank you.
Fantastic. Wow. All right. Please, one more time, everyone's got to put their hands together for all of our presenters tonight because they did a phenomenal job. This has been absolutely fantastic. I'm so glad that you are all here. Please tell your friends about this. Tell your friends what we're doing here. Educate them. It doesn't have to be 20 slides in 5 minutes, but educate them about Ignite Carroll and all of the fantastic things that we're doing, because we want to do it again. We're going to have our third Ignite Carroll sometime in spring, March of 2014 we're aiming at. So if you think you can get up here and enlighten us in a quick manner, if you think you can do this, please start to put those ideas together. We will send out information on when the request for proposals will happen, and start to work on your presentations, because I love coming to these events and learning so much about things that I didn't know about before, and I hope all of you did the same coming here this evening. So thank you once again. Thank you to the Carroll Tech Council. Thank you to all of our sponsors, to the Carroll Arts Council, and to all of our presenters tonight, and for you guys for coming. Thank you for making Ignite Carroll 2 such a huge success. Good night, everyone. See you next time. Hi, it's Vince Buscemi here with Tracy Turner, and we just had a fantastic Ignite Carroll 2. Yes. The speakers were just phenomenal. There were so many great stories tonight, lots and lots of excitement. Everyone was ignited for sure, and we are so looking forward to Ignite 3. We're going to try and have it in the spring of 2014, so March 2014, so be on the lookout. We're going to send the information out. If you think you can do this, get up on stage and make a presentation, I guarantee you, just put the thoughts together and you will. Join us at Ignite 3 in March.
Good night.